To begin with, this is KYOMLP 95.9 FM in a service of Sunflower Community Action in Wichita, Kansas, doing business as KSUN, your community radio station. Welcome to Our Own Voice, a partnership in mental health awareness in cooperation with NAMI Wichita and KSUN Community Radio. NAMI is a national alliance on mental illness. We are the largest grassroots advocacy network for people with mental illness and their family members, with over 800 national affiliates and 13 Kansas affiliates, with NAMI Wichita being one of those 13. We provide awareness, support, education, and advocacy for people affected by mental illness. Our purpose here is to provide a community conversation on KSUN Radio that gives insight into what it's like to live with a mental illness. Our intention and hope is that our program will change attitudes, assumptions, and stereotypes about people with mental health conditions, and in so doing, we will stop the stigma associated with mental illness. My name is David. I am very pleased and proud to be your host today, and I am a person living with mental illness. I am in recovery for major depressive disorder. Like everyone, I struggled with the ups and downs of emotions and the challenges of being fully human, but I am doing great, and I know I have many gifts to offer my family, my friends, and my community. Now, before I get too far into the program, I need to note that we talk about mental health issues on this program. There may be some issues or words that may be troubling or triggering for our listeners. Please practice good self-care and use your own discretion when listening. Now let me introduce Kara, my co-host, and our technical producer today.
Hello.
Hello, Kara.
Hello, David. How are you?
Doing great. And we don't have a person to interview today, do we?
We're flying duo.
That's right. So we are going to talk about all sorts of wonderful things. And to start off with, we're going to talk about how there is new hope for treatment-resistant depression. And they have been doing some experiments or testing or human trials, I guess, with esketamine, which is a type of recreational drug that they have found has a positive effect on people with depression. Isn't that right?
I assume so. I haven't read the article.
Okay. Well, the article notes that that depression can be treatment resistant, meaning it doesn't seem to follow the typical guidelines of using therapy or medication or both to help with the depression. So what they have been trying is they've been using the esketamine, which is a variant of ketamine, the recreational drug.
Now, what's the difference? I mean, I know as an addict, a recovering addict, I know that ketamine is a dissociative, correct?
I'm not sure.
Okay. Well, I guess I don't know that then.
You might know something that I don't know. That's fine.
But what's the difference between esketamine and ketamine?
Well, let me see
I'm going
here.
to mention that I do have a friend who was planning on receiving ketamine treatments for her depression. Her depression is drug resistant,
Okay.
and she has had issues for a long time, and she was going to receive at her doctor's order ketamine treatments. So I'm interested.
Okay. Well, I would assume, let's see here what it says. It notes that, well, it mentions what's next in ketamine trials. Dr. Zarate from the National Institute of Mental Health is the one who is talking about the findings of ketamine. Ketamine has strong, rapid effects on treatment-resistant depression and bipolar depression, as well as inducing suicidal thoughts. Furthermore, the National Institute of Mental Health and the funded researchers have conducted a number of studies to better understand the mechanisms by which ketamine may produce these rapid therapeutic effects.
In inducing suicidal thoughts?
No, I think it's reducing.
Oh, reducing.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for that. I misread that. So it goes to show that sometimes my eyes jump. Um, but I'm still not finding a point as to where esketamine and regular ketamine are different. Oh, here it is. Like many organic molecules, ketamine consists of two different chemicals that differ only in their three-dimensional structure, so-called S-ketamine and R-ketamine. Janssen scientists working under Dr. Manji reasoned that S-ketamine was the active ingredient and that if they made a pure form of S-ketamine, they could deliver more of the drug to the nasal passages, which I understand is the way that they are doing it through a nasal mist.
A nasal mist.
Yes. So, like, sort of like an allergy or a sinus mist that you would get to, I don't know.
I see. And that follows along with therapy, right?
Right. I
Like,
would assume so.
you would have a therapy session while you're under the effects of the esketamine.
Right. The job is not done for treatment-resistant depression. Ketamine and esketamine work, but both have significant drawbacks. So there's still drawbacks.
So it's still in the testing phase.
Right.
Right.
Many patients experience uncomfortable dissociative symptoms. What you were saying about being a dissociative. Also, hypertension or other side effects for a few hours after administration.
I see.
Because of these symptoms, as well as the potential for abuse, both need to be administered in a doctor's office. So
Yes.
they are talking about the fact that it does require a medical doctor to be the one who is administering it.
I see. Well, that would make sense.
Yeah.
If it's under trial.
Right. But there's still so many other forms of things that they do for treatment-resistant depression.
Well, have you heard of magnet therapy?
Yes, I have.
Can you explain a little about what magnet therapy is?
Okay, my understanding is that they place a magnet or an electromagnet on both temples, and they. No, wait a minute. No, I think they place it only on one spot, and they have to have a CAT scan done of the brain first before they do it.
Okay.
And so they place it on one spot and induce a magnetic field, and that apparently has effects that help out. And it can be helpful for treatment resistant.
Right. I have a very good friend whom I love dearly who has undergone magnet therapy. And she said that it worked for her for
Really?
the most part. However, I don't know. It worked for her for a little while, anyways.
Okay, so there was some benefit from it then.
Yes, she said that she wasn't waking up as fearful for the rest of the day.
Okay, well, now on top of magnet therapy, which I'm not quite sure what it's called, what the technical term is. I'm
Right.
not sure what that is. But along with that, there's also ECT or electroconvulsive therapy.
Isn't that dangerous?
Well,
Aren't all these things dangerous, including prescription drugs?
well, they're dangerous only when they are not followed to the letter. And medical experts are the ones who do the ECT process.
Right.
And it is administered while you are asleep, so you are given a sedative to sleep first. And so it's not the same image that people think of when they think of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest type thing. So it's not that. It's
Good movie.
It's much different. Much more humane treatment, much more calming, and the side effect for that is loss of temporary memory or your short-term memory. That's it.
Right.
So I'm not quite sure how that how that compares with magnetic therapy, but I understand that the magnetic therapy is doing some really amazing stuff there.
What, I, I'm not. I'm not sure how she described it, but there are a lot of options out there, including holistic medicine. But I would assume that if our listeners are paying attention, that we don't recommend anything but listening to what your doctor
That's
recommends.
right. Your doctor knows best. And not only that, but you really need to do this through therapy.
Right. Therapy along with medication or along with whatever your doctor prescribes is the best course of action
Right.
in your treatment.
Exactly. So now let's see here. Something else for you. Um, I I found something about recognizing schizophrenia, and I think what we'll do is we will probably do that in the next section. So let me go move on to some announcements that we have.
Certainly.
And we will have a family to family class starting up. It will start up March 9th of 2020 and will end April 27th. That should be 8 sessions. It's the new 8 session program, and it will be from 7 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. at Grace Revolution Church, which is 812 South Oliver. That's 812 South Oliver, Wichita, Kansas 67218. That's basically the corner of South Oliver and East Lincoln Streets. And you can always call NAMI, which is 316 686 1373, to find out more information. So, how are we doing on time, Kara?
We have about a minute left, but we can take a break.
Okay, let's go ahead and take a break and we will come back. Thank you. Oh, let me do it this way. Um, this is Our Own Voice on KSUN Community Radio. We are talking with ourselves, and we are going to take a quick break and be right back.
Our Own Voice is brought to you by NAMI. If you would like to learn more about the National Alliance on Mental Illness, the programs we offer, or get involved, please visit NAMI.org.
Welcome back to Our Own Voice, a partnership in mental health awareness in cooperation with NAMI Wichita and KSUN Community Radio. NAMI is a National Alliance on Mental Illness. Our Own Voice is intended to humanize the misunderstood, highly stigmatized topic of mental illness by showing that it's possible and common to live well with a mental health condition. Now, to learn more about NAMI Wichita and how you can get involved with the mental health community, contact our message line at 316 686 1373 or email us at info@namiwichita.org. Leave us a message and someone will get back to you as soon as possible. You can also visit our web and Facebook pages. Our website is www.namiwichita.org, and our Facebook is www.facebook.com/NamiWichitaKS. NAMI has lots of activities going on, from our various classes to our various meetings. The first Tuesday of the month is our affiliate education meeting at 7 p.m., where we often have amazing guest speakers share with us happenings in mental health. On the third Tuesday of the month, we have Ask the Doctor Hour from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m., followed by our support groups for those family and persons with a lived experience with mental health. And on the fourth Tuesday, we meet at College Hill United Methodist Church for a Care and Share support group for those persons and family and friends of those living with mental health. The first and third Tuesday, our meetings are at 1010 North Main, the same location as Breakthrough Club and Episcopal Social Services. Again, if you would like to join us or learn more about NAMI Wichita, please contact our message line at 316-686-1373. We would love to hear from you. Let me also again note that we are talking about mental health issues on this program. There may be some issues or words that may be troubling or triggering for our listeners. Please practice good self-care and use your own discretion with listening. So, Kara, before the break, I had mentioned this article about recognizing schizophrenia, and I would like to read some of it for you right now. This is from News in Health, I believe. It says, "What would it be like to hear voices or see someone or see people or things that aren't really there? How would you feel if people seemed out to harm you and you weren't sure who to trust? Would you recognize that something was wrong?" Unfortunately, most people with schizophrenia are unaware that their symptoms are warning signs of a mental disorder. Their lives may be unraveling, yet they may believe that their experiences are normal. Or they may feel that they are blessed or cursed with special insights that others can't see. Schizophrenia is a brain disorder that affects about 1 in 100 people. It affects men and women equally in all ethnic groups. Symptoms often start between ages 16 and 30, but most often between 18 and 22. It's unusual to develop schizophrenia after age 45. So tell us, what do you think about this, Kara?
What do you mean? What do I think about it?
Well, because you have schizoaffective disorder.
Right.
And for our listeners, that means that you have a mood disorder with schizophrenia.
Right. Correct.
And so does this article describe schizophrenia rather well?
Well, to me it does, because when I was psychotic, when I was in psychosis, I heard voices very loudly. I saw things that weren't there, bugs. I imagined that there were supernatural entities jumping in and out of people, and that I could tell, and that it was my job to save them, and that I was the target of this plot by angels and demons to rid me of the world, because it was a very that line of thinking isn't normal, right?
Right.
But to me it was very normal. To me it all made sense. It was like I was seeing things that others couldn't see, like I was the chosen one, that kind of thing. So to me this article makes a lot of sense. It in fact makes too much sense.
Okay. It's somewhat scary to experience that, isn't it?
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Of course,
And
because you don't know who you can trust, and I mean, I believe that demons were coming out of the phone.
oh, wow.
the-
Okay.
Just unrealistic thinking.
Yeah. But now, did it help that your parents or your friends would say that's not happening?
It didn't help until one day I went to my psychologist, and I thought I saw a bug on the floor, so I stomped on it, and I lifted my foot, and nothing was there. And my psychologist asked me, what was that all about? And I told him that there was a bug right there, and now it's gone. And he said, something's not right with you. I think we need to put you in the hospital. And I lost it. I was not happy about that.
Okay. So,
It took my psychologist to recognize that something was wrong with it. I mean, I'm pretty sure that my parents had tried to get through to me that something was wrong with me, but I wasn't believing anything
Yeah.
from them, because I thought I knew better.
yeah. And that type of thinking, that delusional thinking, I guess, is what it's called,
Right.
or it can masquerade itself as other types of emotions or something like that. Um, I'm not quite sure I just made sense, but anyway, you mentioned at the break that you wanted to talk about something else in particular.
Well, I wanted to talk about how we treat uh, disorders like schizophrenia with antipsychotics. For me, I had a very terrible time with the first generation antipsychotics.
Okay. I happen to, even though I'm a major depressive disorder, I still have an antipsychotic that I take along with my depressive, with my antidepressant medication.
Right.
So I think it's interesting that it's used as a helper drug with the antidepressant.
I wouldn't know much about that. I'm not currently on an antipsychotic.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure why it helps, but it does, and it helps me with a lot of my thinking and a lot of my understanding of things.
Mm-hmm.
So I am able to do more positive self talk now,
Mm-hmm.
and for our listeners, what that means is it may sound strange to you, but it's the talking to yourself of I am a good person. I am generally capable of doing things. I have a lot of talent and creativity, and just assuring myself of those abilities.
Or in the realm of schizophrenia and delusional thinking, we talked about this during the break, that sometimes I will have irrational thoughts that don't make sense. Like, what if everyone can hear what I'm thinking right now, and I have to self-talk to myself and say, self, that doesn't make sense. That's not normal. That's a delusional thought, and move on from it and try not to entertain the thought, because that thinking like that can lead me back into a psychotic state.
Exactly, and that cyclical thinking or rethinking, rehashing the thought. That is called ruminating.
Oh,
I love that word.
that's a good word.
Yeah, it's a $10 word, as my dad would say. But yeah, and everyone does this to a certain degree. Some people just are better at controlling it. But those of us who have depression, we also tend to ruminate on things, and we dwell and think over and over, and just experience things in a bad way. And so it helps us to get beyond ourselves when we get into that kind of a mode.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see. What else can we talk about here?
Well, I just want to say out there, if you are experiencing any psychotic symptoms or delusional thinking, it would be best to talk to your doctor about this, and your doctor can recommend the best course of action. But believe me, there is hope out there, and it will be okay. You can get better.
Yes, there is hope and there is help. Um, I would like to sort of wind down our session today and note that there's some other activities happening with NAMI Wichita coming up in April 7th to be exact. At 6:30 is our yearly picnic, I guess we call it. It's an indoor picnic. It's our potluck that happens in April. It'll be April 7th at 1010 North Main, which is the same building as Breakthrough Club and Episcopal Social Services, and like I said, that would be at 6:30. And then I want to go back and rehash that. We have a family-to-family class starting up. So for family members of people with a lived experience, family members or friends, I should say, of people with a lived experience, there is a family-to-family class which helps you take care of yourself as well as take care of your loved one. And that starts March 9th. It will be at Grace Revolution Church, which is 812 South Oliver. And for more information, please call our normal line that we give here on the radio.
What's that number again?
That number is 316-686-1373.
Thank you for joining us today.
Yes. Thank you for joining us for Our Own Voice on Case and Community Radio. Thank you for us talking about everything, right? And join us for our next Our Own Voice program.